Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have about a minute until I set this all rolling. I have changed the volume settings on my microphone because I had some feedback saying that it wasn't loud enough. So if I sound more clearer and louder, give me a thumbs up in the chat, please. And then if it's not, we will adjust it after the intro thing that I play. Yeah, the intro thing. What's that intro thing again? The intro thing. Amazing. Right, cool. Yes, I will see you all in a minute. Thumbs up, remember, if I'm loud enough, please. Good evening, Scotland. Good evening, social media land. I hope you are well. Welcome to That Indy Show. It is Thursday, the 16th of February, 2023. We are recording tonight's live for the security and integrity of the message and the ability to upload and share via other platforms. Indeed. Right. I always start the show with a bit of context about what we're talking about and things like that. But before I do that, thank you for the thumbs up. Lots of thumbs up there for the am I too loud? Do I sound distorted? Give me some feedback as we go along. I can make adjustments with the volume and the sound settings as we do go along all this. And before we begin, and before we do the context as well, let me just see everybody in the chat. Who we got? Kimru, Druss, Michelle, amazing. Pfeiffer, I know you. What? You've been in before. I don't recognise your picture. Kieran, thank you very much for being the spannery person along with Kimru. Beth, hi Beth. And Will.I.am, who has just joined the Discord as well. I'm glad to have you in Discord. A nice little growing community there, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. Kareem, did I say you already? No, didn't. Kareem's here too. Dave Hill, and lots of thumbs up. Great. Listen, I'm really, really appreciative of all the thumbs up for this. I think it's important that you can hear me. Otherwise, what's the point? What is the point? Okay. Tonight's context is based around the opportunity that we could hold an extraordinary general election in Scotland on the back of the First Minister resigning. So how could we do this? Well, I'm going to put a little link in here. I've got this on the Discord as well. This is Section 46 of the Scotland Act, which basically says clearly that we have to elect a First Minister within the first 28 days of he or she resigning. Okay, so that link there is for all the people that do not believe it. Now, I went away and had to dig through this afternoon as well, and the next link is basically another section of the Scotland Act 1998 that says if there is no First Minister within 28 days elected by Holyrood, that an extraordinary general election can be held in Scotland on the back of this, because, well, it's kind of important, isn't it? It's if you don't have a First Minister, how can you have a functioning government? We need that leadership in place. Hold on, that's better. I wasn't looking at my camera there. So yeah, this is kind of where we are just now. And, why on earth... Did I just do the same one there? No, I didn't. That's cool. So why on earth would we, be talking about the horror show that is the Union with regards to the potential of having an extraordinary general election? Well, I think you have to understand how garbage the Union is and what a terrible thing it will remain to be if we don't have this general election. We have the chance to change things, but why do we want to change them? Well, it's kind of necessary because of everything that we're going to be talking about. And I want you to think just now, okay, please don't put it up in the chat just yet, but I want you to think just now while we go through tonight's live, okay, of your own personal Union horror show, your own personal fear factor of remaining in the Union. Don't put it up there. I'll ask you to put it up towards the end so we can look at those and discuss them at the end of all this. All right, it's really quite important. But we as independence activists, we're constantly speaking up about the benefits of independence, but rarely do we mention the utter social decimation that would occur in Scotland if we remained. And I apologise in advance because it may turn into a bit of a rant as we go through the evening.
My name's Robert, and I have a question for you. Are you yes yet?
Okie dokie. Our first jingle is always our Robert, okay, and I always put his little link up here as well. I've just realised that my son is in here as well. Thank you, young man. Okay, for being here. Okay, please don't call me by my name or anything crazy. Anyway, I've put Robert's link up there. He is a hardcore no to yes person. He was most definitely a no voter in 2014 and has come forward and has basically changed his mind and will most definitely be voting yes. That link there is his 40-minute podcast on YouTube that when I interviewed him. All right. Really important that you, if you've not listened to it, go and listen to it. If you know a no voter, okay, that's swithering to be yes or not, they might change their mind when they realise it's okay to be yes. I think that is most definitely one of the most important things. So yeah, go and use it, share it, give it out to as many people, put it on your Twitter, your Facebook, get other people to listen to it. It's absolutely vital that we do. Right. Okay, where to begin tonight? I'm going to start tonight with a simple statement aimed at all the indie folk, actual indie folk that did not like Nicola and just loved to throw about the I cannot vote for independence while Nicola is First Minister. Where do you stand now? She's gone. She's not going to be First Minister anymore. She's going to be part of the SNP, of course, and be an advocate for independence, of course. But you've got no excuses now, have you? There's no more lame excuses. Where do you stand? Are you going to vote for independence now, or are you just going to come up with some more lame excuses? These lame excuses allow you to pretend to be an independence activist, something that I like to call a pretendy. You're not really an activist, are you? You're just pretending to be about independence. You were using it, the Nicola issue, as a lame excuse. So are you going to vote yes now? Are you? Are you going to climb down off your First Minister hating high horse and then rediscover your indie roots and start marching with us and start realising that the horror show that is the union is going to affect you regardless whether Nicola's in power or not? This is really important. She's gone now. And the nominations, right, are open to choose a new First Minister. And we have a tremendous opportunity to hold a plebiscite in Scotland with the elections franchise that includes 16-year-olds and EU folk that reside here permanently. Are you going to find another reason to bring down your brothers and sisters within the movement, or are you going to get on board and actually fight with us side by side? Because if you're not, you just have to admit that you're a no voter and leave us alone. And listen, while I'm pointing the finger here, let me point out to our brothers and sisters who also suffer under the yoke of Westminster as much as we do that live outside Scotland, though. Okay, we value your support. Believe me, people that live outside of Scotland, we value your support. But to those that do live in other parts of the Union that think that arrogant criticism of our movement makes you look all big and tough, whose words that are used to belittle Scotland and mock your neighbours, please take note. Your elected officials are making you pay through the nose in the same cost of living crisis that we suffer under. They are destroying your NHS the same way as they do so by stealth to Scotland's NHS. And what I find absolutely hilarious about the criticism that you throw at us is that it's meaningless. You don't even have a vote in any ballot box event that we'll be holding to choose independence. It's laughable. And you would even say that we should not have one. That was once in a lifetime. That Scotland's bad. Independence is bad. How can you live with yourself being so obviously narrow-minded about the nation of people fighting to better themselves? It's like you're genuinely afraid to deal with Westminster on your own and ignore the disaster that Westminster actually is and focus your attention on belittling us. Shame on you. In fact, not shame on you. I pity you, specifically your fear and ability to stand up for the right thing. But no wonder. You kind of probably fell for that whole Brexit on a bus thing, didn't you? You're too ashamed to admit that you were wrong, so it's easier to attack us instead. Now, when I think about this, that is truly like cult behaviour. Not admitting that you're wrong, that, you are right, that holy grail of the person that you think is the right one for you, that your way or the highway. Okay, so if you do come to a realisation that you've been victimised by the cult of the union, I've got a wee website here for you, right? This is the cultinformation.org. all right? This is the one that can point you in the right direction for deprogramming and give you information about what a cult actually is, all right? I mean, we get accused of being a cult up here for independence. I mean, even our Discord group has been nicknamed collectively as Discult, you know? No. How can people wanting a broader horizon, a better future with more people and more ideas even remotely be a cult? Get a grip, honestly. Nobody outside of Scotland will have a say in any poll that we will eventually have. And we best remember this so that those that are not in Scotland that come at us are wasted. We have to realise that they're wasting the little time that we have to convince our brothers and sisters here in Scotland that our time is running out. So the following segment is aimed at the consequences of not being independent and the effect it will have right across Scotland.
A sovereign state has the right to withdraw if a treaty is no longer compatible with its fundamental interests or fundamental circumstances, putting it a different way, have changed.
No country that values its independence and indeed its self-respect could agree to a treaty which signed away our economic independence and self-government.
No treaty in the world I'm aware of where a sovereign nation undertakes to join up and can only leave when the other side says so. So that's the key point, the ability to get out.
Why would we think of signing up to anything that does not allow us to simply say, this is not working, we are not going to sign up to this and we are leaving?
Democracy fails to be a democracy if the people cannot change their mind, and that's exactly what people
The European Council tomorrow night will be as follows. This is the 21st century, and you cannot hold a nation captive against their will.
Ultimately, membership of any union that involves the pooling of sovereignty can only be sustained with the consent of the people.
Here. Honestly, I can feel the rants already building inside me. Was I a bit too ranty there? Was I? I can't stand the pointless criticism we get from our brothers and sisters down south when they suffer the same way as we do. I think it's a joke. I do feel very strongly that they're in a position where they're hiding the truth from themselves, you know, hiding the whole thing from themselves. Right, just have a quick look. Let's have a quick look in this. You said that you're going to run to represent the Lothians in Indy and that you will have a ceremonial day called Flag Day and burn the Union Jack. Never said once that I would burn the Union Jack. I record all my lives, okay? Never said that at all. I said I would bring down the Union Jack. So please get your flags right about that. Your flags right. Okay, Flag Day, yes. Bringing down the flags and putting up the saltires. That's not a cult, okay? That's really not a cult. Get a grip, right? Seriously. Okay, let's move on. Anything else? March the 19th has been cancelled. But let's have a look at that. The NEC also confirmed the deadline for candidates to announce is February the 24th. So that is in 8 days' time. And the ballot closes on the 19th of March. So that could mean that we don't have a First Minister for more than 28 days. That's very good. Interesting. Right. Let's move on with this just now. Okay, Boris said in the last video that no country that values its independence and indeed its self-respect could agree to a treaty which signed away our economic independence and self-governance. Please bear that in mind as well as we move through tonight. Because I don't believe that those who consider the Westminster path being the best option for Scotland have any self-respect. Okay, I really don't. I mean, let's examine the horror of remaining in this union. First of all, the political one. Okay, we will forever remain under the thumb of Anglo-British nationalists. Now, there's a cult, okay, that are driving head-on into a right-wing totalitarian state. Right-wing, pretty culty, you know, pretty culty. But so many of these people are accepting of this at worst, or at least totally naive of it, all right, this swing to right-wing politics. We all know that presently they are wanting to limit the powers of unions to withdraw, for unions to withdraw their members' labour from strikes in the form of strikes. They are actually criminalising this, but Anglo-British nationalists in their cult-like behaviour are all over this with how dare the workers strike, how dare they want a pay rise. These people are people just like us and suffer the same as us. And all I can say is thank God that the people I rub shoulders with can clearly see the hypocrisy of thanking and clapping the frontline NHS teams across these islands during the pandemic and then demonising them when they want a fair pay deal and they threaten to strike because they're not getting one. If you cannot see the issue with this hypocrisy, then truly you need to maybe pray to your ancestors for forgiveness and maybe a bit of enlightenment. I mean, let's have a look at what other legislation is currently being considered. We have a bill that will demonise protesters, criminalising them. We have a bill that will remove, this is terrible, that will remove autistic and people with learning difficulties from the Mental Health Act, which will then not allow them to get medical help or social care help if they are detained by the police. If they have to remain in police custody for their own safety, they will have to be charged under a criminal law rather than the Mental Health Act that would provide social services to intervene. We have the bill that will remove all workers' rights we'll have a bill that will remove all the workers' rights that we've become so accustomed to. Right, this is happening on the 1st of January 2024, and it's that bill that's going to become law that will take away all the legislation that we have parity with the EU. Okay, so this is going to happen. This is definitely going to happen because it's been clearly stated that these particular rights will be removed, and this is the horror show that is the union. So paid holidays, things like this. Okay, your paid holidays are on the table. They're going to go. Paid maternity and paternity leave, that's going to go. Legal rest days during your work week, that's not going to be a necessity. Okay, that will go. Legal sanctioned breaks at work, that will be a thing of the past. The ability to not be forced to work overtime without persecution from your employer, that will go. That is the working time directive that we currently work under. It's a voluntary thing. It means that you can work the overtime if you wish, but your employer can't persecute you if you decide not to. Part-time workers having the same rights as full-time workers, that's going. The ability for consultation in the company you work in the ability for consultation if the company you work in has to restructure. Let's take it a bit further. Okay, do you know of any other country in the world that prides itself on democracy and fairness that actually suppresses democracy? Well, the UK does, and we all know it. When all the no voters were celebrating the ruling of the Supreme Court against the Scottish Government, I thought, wow, Turkey's celebrating Christmas. It was laughable, as they were celebrating the inability to allow change or even discuss change. They actually proved that they were under the thumb of a colonial power hiding in the shadow of democracy. How is it all right for England to have a say in anything constitutional that affects Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland, while we cannot even revisit our relationship with the Union without asking their permission? Can I ask you, would you be okay with this? Because this is the horror show that is the Union. Do you think that Westminster would be okay with this if, when collectively on these islands, we decided to leave the EU, that we had to ask permission first to do that? It does not make sense in the slightest. Okay? The NHS as a whole right now, okay, we'll move straight on to the NHS. The NHS as a whole right now is being fleeced for funds and raped of its ability to function properly. The gradual defunding of the NHS has been by stealth and attrition. Westminster has not maintained the required in line with inflation funding for the NHS in down south, basically. And they've been privatising sections of it, and as a result of this funding, we receive the result of the funding we receive through the devolution settlement via the Barnett formula. It reduces to we get less funding per head of population when they reduce the funding down south. And before any of you naysayers start trotting around on your high horse saying the NHS is fully devolved, yes it is, of course it is. But get this through your heads, funding is not devolved. We receive our funding through the Barnett formula. We actually only collect around 30% of the taxation here in Scotland. The rest is collected by the Treasury, and then by use of the Barnett formula, we receive only a portion of what is collected and returned for us to spend. Okay, so if the Barnett formula says that Westminster has decided to provide less for education or less for health services or less for any other services, it's reflected in what we receive up here as well. All right? That's how it works. Understand that we do not have the ability to borrow for funding. Yes, that is very true. I will call out anybody that says that we can borrow as a blatant liar. Also, by means of devolution settlement, Scotland has to deliver a balanced budget by law. So when they are blatantly underfunding the NHS through the Barnett formula, we have to pull funds from other services to enable us to deliver an adequate NHS for the people in Scotland. Imagine not having the NHS that we want. Imagine not having it at all, because that is what the Westminster model that the Tories want to have. They would want you to pay for it. It's already been suggested to pay for GP and A&E visits. This is the reality of the union, paying for the healthcare we have all been accustomed to that is free at point of use. So to all the Anglo-Britnats that think that independence is wrong, you'll be responsible for the impending health crisis and care disaster. It's just not going to work, is it?
My name is Hero, and I have a question for you. Are you yes yet?
That was Hero. And I'm going to give Hero a big wave, because I know he's hiding in the chat. It's funny hearing yourself, isn't it, mate? Hero's a good guy. He is an EU national that lived in Manchester, then after Brexit moved to Scotland. He is a hardcore Indy warrior like the rest of us, and I'm proud to call him my friend, although he is loving me less just now because I rickrolled him earlier on, along with a whole bunch of our community as well, which is quite funny. I'm not going to apologise for that. I will say that I didn't create it, that Barry, our technical wizard, he created it. It was all his fault. I just posted it, okay? It was great. So, yeah, you can all give me a hard time in the Discord chat after the show, okay? Good. Let's have a quick look. I'm just having a quick look. What do you mean? Imagine if Ruin gave Mo pocket money. He does give me pocket money. Let's have a look. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Yep. Thank you very much, moderators, for looking out for me tonight. I have room for a couple of other mods that we will discuss in Discord, because tonight we've got 19 people actually watching. So listen, everybody that's watching in the chat just now, thank you very much. If you want to join in on the live chat, you do have to subscribe, and you do have to wait about 5 minutes for the bots to verify your account. But then you can join in the chat. I'm quite happy for you to do so, which is great. Okay, and you can see that we do interact with the chat as we go through it all and move along with the whole show. Right, okay, so next little segment. How do you feel about genetically modified meats and plants in the shops in Scotland? Are you okay with these being on our shelves? Are you? They're coming too. How about funding wars when our military is tier 2? And we need to actually still consider propping up our NHS and providing housing for our veteran soldiers that are living on the streets. That is actually happening now, okay? We're just not doing that. We're providing funding to Ukraine. Now, I'm not against helping them out, but I would really like to see a little bit of help, a little bit of more help towards the services that we need at home as well. How about having your government telling you that you cannot create a progressive law to help a minority? That happened. And if you think that's the last you've seen of Section 35, then that's clearly mistaken. They know that they can now use it. Okay, they know that they can use it, and there's nothing we can do about it, and their right-wing media will just laugh at us when they use it. Okay. How about the lack of funding entering Scotland through the Barnett formula? So we underfund our councils, we underfund our education system, and we underfund our vital services. How about them keeping, I think somebody said in the chat, about 14.2 billion of our pounds? You know, how about that? Could we not use that and spend that better? Could we not re-wangle our budget, our military, and the way that we spend things to do that better? Of course we could. All these things are happening and will only get worse while this underfunding happens. We will see people that make these decisions get a pay rise like they've just done in Westminster. How is that right? I mean, really, I just don't get that. It drives me insane. How about when you retire having the worst pension in the developed world? That is a fact right now, and truly won't change without independence. Okay. How about watching the energy companies rake in profits at your expense? Okay, and then watch the government do literally nothing about it, while our neighbours in Europe, are paying less than half the amount than we are. I'm sure if I ask you all in the chat to comment on your own Remain in the Union horror story like I did at the start, you could do so. So as I go through the next bit, start putting up your own personal union horror shows, because when we get to the end of this, we'll read them back and have a good wee chat about it, okay? While the naysayers get angry with everything that I've said tonight, let me ask you all this, right? How are you going to explain this to your children? When we don't have an NHS anymore, when their education system is garbage, and the ivory towers and the castles that are built down in London, Westminster, are all beautiful, when we pay billions of pounds to upgrade their sewage system, when we pay billions of pounds to a rail system that will never ever reach Scotland, when we could be funding our children more, we could be providing them with an even better education than we can just now. How will you look them in the eyes? How will you look in the eyes of your grandchildren when all this falls apart around us because we remained in the Union? Will you be able to look them and say you voted for this and thought this was the best and most reasonable solution for your country and their future? I don't think so. Just think about that, will you? The Saltire has a growing Discord community. It is the perfect place to rub shoulders with other indie folk like yourself. If you want to be part of this community, send Mo a DM on his Twitter account @thesaltireig. That is my rant over for tonight, but I want to have a quick look at the chat. Okay, let's have a quick look back. Yeah, so James Jarvie, we generate 73.8 billion and we get given back 59.6. Westminster keeps 14.2. And then we have to consider as well, my friend, that we would spend money differently in Scotland. We would have more foreign investment in Scotland. I mean, people might laugh at me for saying this, but we can do a whole foreign investment show tomorrow night. How about we do that tomorrow night? We talk about the great potential of Scotland and the fact that we choose to believe in Scotland rather than sort of like demean Scotland. I think that's really quite important. Absolutely. Yes, thank you very much for saying that my son is a good kid. He is good. Yeah, they should fund schools more. He's sitting over there. We should fund schools more. No, just sit down. You're not coming on the camera, okay? We should, yes, that's some sound. We should. I think that's really important. Really, really important. I just played the jingle about the Discord server. So if you are a proper indie person and you want to just come and join our community, it's just a little safe space where we can all sort of collectively talk about everything to do with indie. We drop like quite interesting articles, and we've got quite a good little archive now of stuff. There's about 30 to 40 people in there. I would say about 50% are reasonably active. I see people coming in and out all the time. We have a voice chat there that we all hang out in and have a good chat about it all. All right, so it's quite a positive little place to be. Unfortunately, if you're a unionist, you're not going to get in. It's not a house of debate. So this is why it's called Discult, because we burn Union Jack flags in there. We really do. That's what we do. We run around wearing saltire pants and burn Union Jack flags. That's what we do. Okay, we can't help it. All right, that is the cult that we're in. Seriously, we don't. As you're kind of having a wee look out here just now, we will jump on one last little thing, right? And that is, this is not a game that we're playing. Independence is not a game. Decisions are being made in Westminster that affect everybody's lives, and they're not making positive decisions. Now, I'm not saying that the Scottish government's perfect, but they're doing a shitload more up here than they are down there to better Scotland, okay? And you can't use this Nicola Sturgeon thing as an excuse anymore. It's just not the right thing at all. It's just have to get it done. We have to go out there and we have to convince people that this is the right thing to do. And that's why our little collective is there, so we can share ideas and push things forward, which is cool. Right, let's have a look. Oh yes, Michelle, you're absolutely right. We also eat cheese on toast. That is the 3 times a day cult meal in the Saltire Discord. We eat cheese on toast and we put like brown sauce in a cross on the top of it so it looks like an orange and brown saltire. All right, that's what we do. Okay, I can laugh at ourselves. I can laugh at us all because I'm a grown up, and you have to be able to laugh at yourselves for these sort of things, because at the end of the day, all right, okay, if we're not going to laugh at ourselves, okay, we can't be taken seriously. We have to have that ability because it's a serious thing. It's not a game. Independence, like I say, is not a game. It's something that has to be done. Otherwise, where are we going to end up? Yes, we know that you love cheese on toast, young sir. Absolutely. Right, let's have a quick look. 20 guests in the thing there just now. Okay, has anybody got anything that they want to highlight with their own concern about remaining in the union? All right, I think it's a pertinent time to do that. Francis, Edgar, your daughter's banned you from Discord. You unban yourself. Come and join the little group, which is good, You will not get a bad education, Ruin. You won't, because you're my son. Okay? You're my son. Stop trolling me on my own show, son. I'm not. You are so. Honest to God. Getting trolled by my son. Ridiculous. He's a good guy. Okay, so that is us. If nobody's going to come on and put their own little things forward just now, I'll give it another minute or so. It's a short live tonight because ranting takes the energy out of me, all right? But I will go across to Discord, and if there's anybody here that wants to join the Discord, and this is how it works. First of all, you need to have a Discord account, right? That's the first thing, and that's pretty obvious, right? You then have to go to Twitter and find the Saltire IG, or go to Instagram and just find the Saltire. Send me a DM, say who you are, all right? And then send me your Discord name with the hashtag number, right? Now, I need to be able to verify that you've got a proper piece of social media there that is pro-independence. If you can't verify that, then I'm not going to let you in, so there's no point, okay? It's only me that can send out the invitations and one other person. So at the end of the day, if you can't do that, you're just not going to get in. Not because it's a little secret gang hut, but because I want to maintain a nice, safe space for the members and the regulars to come in, hang out in, and just chill. I'm sure that if you wanted to do a pro-union one where you could be bitter and twisted and mock us all, you could come and do that, okay? I'm not going to ask to go into your Discord because I've actually got no interest in what you have to say, okay? My job here is to continue to speak to yes voters who will then in turn speak to potential no voters, who may in turn turn round and be convinced one way or another. I will continue to make content for lives, even if I'm just rambling nonsense. I will continue to make 5-minute videos to educate people in it. I will still continue to join lives on TikTok to speak to as many people as I possibly can. That is the job of the saltire. I'm not the saltire, I am Mo. Okay, the saltire is just the flag which I stand under. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's have a quick look here. Mine is UK turning into a fascist dictatorship and the Scottish Parliament being neutered. Yeah, that is, Michelle, that is truly something that it's not even been done by stealth anymore, is it, with the legislation that's going through? And it's been recognised in the international community as well that this is actually happening. And it's kind of frightening. It really, really is. Let's have a quick look. If the NHS goes, I'm screwed from being disabled. Absolutely, that's just no good. Like back in the days of the British Empire. You're getting banned, young man, from trolling me on my own thing. I know.
The truth.
That's good. Right. Let us depart for the evening. And like I said, if you want to come and join Discord, please come and do it. And it's good fun. And I'm going to head there. I'm going to go and make another coffee. I might make some cheese on toast now that we've talked about it. I've got a craving again. And yeah, come and chat in Discord. If you want to join, I'll check my social media feeds. And let us play our last little outro. The cheesy one. The cheesy on toasty one. I'm going to make one with cheese on toast. Right. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been fun.